A new report claims that Rocksteady, the developer behind Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, is now only providing bare bones support to the game, and that many of the employees at Rocksteady are now working on a director's cut of Hogwarts Legacy. This comes after it was revealed that this game was a massive financial disaster to the tune of $200 million. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Roll this up over at thatparkplace.com. And this report comes from Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier in the wake of a report he made claiming to reveal why the game was such a failure. As for why, this is what he claimed. It was due to a constantly shifting vision, a culture of rigid perfectionism, and a genre pivot that was ill-suited for the studio. Of note, Schreier did not mention the Sweet Baby Inc. Detected Steam Curator list, which is the second most popular list on Steam with nearly 400,000 followers. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was the first game added to that Sweet Baby Inc. Detected Steam Curator list, which in my opinion acts as a boycott list. Obviously, it has evolved over time. There are actual recommendations on it, and there are other games that have DEI in it that are not exactly Sweet Baby Inc. involved. He also did not mention the ongoing boycott of AAA games called for by Mark Kern, aka Grums, in April, which I do think a lot of people are indeed kind of participating in that. Nevertheless, this is what Schreier claims. He says that Rocksteady is only providing bare bones support now. He adds that it is, quote, definitely not as much as they'd originally planned. Of course it's not. Of course it's not as much as they originally planned, because they literally took a $200 million loss. People didn't buy this game, and the people that did buy the game did not stick with it. Were not interested in purchasing any of their DLC stuff or doing their season passes or any of the microtransactions that they were hoping to milk out of their players. So I do want to point out this here too. In the original report, this is what he said, that the company's employees, quote, are now helping to develop a new director's cut version of Hogwarts Legacy. And that he did say that the company is planning to pitch a new single player game, which would return Rocksteady to its roots. He also indicated that there was kind of Warner Brothers was not looking at shutting Rocksteady down or anything like that. However, we did have a rumor from Vera Dar claiming that actually might be the case. She said this: Warner Brothers is internally talking about closing Rocksteady, or at least having their 250 employees after Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League's bomb. So it's unclear what that having means. Obviously, they are already it sounds like they're already moving employees over to work on Hogwarts Legacy, and then obviously working on this new single player game. So who knows what that having means? Does having mean like we're just going to take these employees and move them to work on this other studio, and they're not really Rocksteady anymore, but they're technically Rocksteady? Who knows if they're kind of playing with semantics and technicalities there. Nevertheless, she goes on and says, I've heavily covered Warner Brothers games of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League since release because of what it represented for Warner Brothers games and a beloved franchise. When it was greenlit, we were seeing a giant scramble for studios to create live service games, and this one released too late, plus the content did not resonate with players. Can say that again for sure. DEI, Sweet Baby Inc. content. No one is interested in that stuff. No one's interested in the woke agenda. Furthermore, she said this: Rocksteady Studios' co-founders and studio heads also departed the company back in 2022 in the middle of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League development. Rocksteady is a shell of the company it used to be, and we saw this happen recently with Embracer Group and Volition, a company that had 30 years of experience under their belt. And it sounds as though Warner Brothers is planning to pull the plug on Rocksteady too. They have no other games publicly announced, and there does not seem to be any confidence in them anymore. Even back in 2016, we got the Batman Arkham VR game that was developed by Rocksteady, and the new Batman Arkham Shadow VR game is being done by Camouflage. Only time will tell. It doesn't seem like the future is very bright for Rocksteady. So that rumor is out there. And the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game has been lampooned out of the gate. We had YouTuber Endymion. He did a video a week after the game released and basically put the blame for the game's disaster on hiring woke DEI consultant Sweet Baby Inc. and writers like Amy Lee Shaw, who is now employed by Sweet Baby Inc. after working with Rocksteady on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and seemingly crippling their studio. But this is what he said. Of course, Amy tries to take the moral high ground here, but the truth is that the damage is done, and what her and the team over at Sweet Baby has done to Suicide Squad, not to mention other games like Spider-Man 2 and more. Everything they touch lessens and cheapens the stories and characters within them. It's gotten so sad that the name Sweet Baby is all but considered a taboo term. It's just as bad as when customers label a product as woke now. Obviously, look at the boycotts of Anheuser-Busch to see, or I guess Bud Light, not specifically Anheuser-Busch, to see how that has turned out. Not good for Bud Light. Now, openly stating your game has any relations to Sweet Baby has become code for people to avoid that product entirely like the plague, because chances are, whatever your game is, if Sweet Baby is involved, it'll be ruined and made into a pandering mess to some capacity. So clearly, lots of gamers, including Endymion, were not happy with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and we're putting the blame firmly on the woke ideology injected into the game and the game design and the game's narrative from companies like Sweet Baby Inc. and writers like Amy Lee Shaw. And we also saw the player base here, right? When it first came out on February 3rd, it had a peak concurrent of 13,459, but you can see it did not last very long at all. People that did indeed purchase this game took a first look at it, played it for a little bit, and quickly dropped it. It was below 500 concurrent players within a month. And that is not good for a game that is literally trying to milk you on live service and keep you playing for the long haul. We did see a slight boost back up to 3,042 when the game released its first DLC featuring the Joker, but we've even seen that it's declined even further now. The most recent 24-hour peak is just 234 players. Not good at all. We also have some sales estimates here. The estimates are between 127,600 and 260,000 units on Steam. So that is also not good. And then finally, we have the actual confirmation that it was a massive financial disaster from Warner Brothers Discovery's chief financial officer, Warner Brothers Discovery being the parent company of Rocksteady. And he said this during the company's Q1 earnings results webcast. He said, starting with studios, the 400 million plus year-over-year decline during Q1 was primarily due to the very tough comp we faced in games against the success of Hogwarts Legacy last year in the first quarter, in conjunction with the disappointing Suicide Squad release this past quarter, which we impaired, leading to a $200 million impact to EBITDA during the first quarter. During the company's fourth quarter 2023 earnings podcast, he had already revealed that the game was a disaster. He says, this year, Suicide Squad, one of our key video game releases in 2024, has fallen short of our expectations since its release earlier in the quarter, setting our games business up for a tough year-over-year comp in Q1. So this game was a disaster from the get-go, and it seems to be only getting worse. I'm actually surprised they're still providing support. I think you would have learned your lesson from Marvel's Avengers. Try and cut your losses. Stop spending money that's just going to be wasted. Stop developing it. Cancel what you had promised, and just get out. Cut your losses. You can't afford to be losing any more money. But it looks like that's what this company is going to continue to do. They're going to continue to lose more money, even providing the bare bones support that it is. If I was the head of Warner Brothers Discovery, I would be axing all support whatsoever, and I would be significantly taking a look at whether or not it's worth keeping Rocksteady around for the foreseeable future, and if they can actually generate any kind of revenue moving forward, or as kind of maybe it looks like they're already doing, kind of moving those assets around, finding other places that you already have that are making money and plugging them in there if you see that they are indeed valuable. But I would definitely be cutting the fat, but it's unlikely they're going to be doing that, because we know Warner Brothers Discovery is all about the woke ideology. They have like a chief diversity officer who has made it very clear that if you oppose woke ideology, he actively tries to get you to resign and leave of your own accord, because he wants to reshape the company's culture within this woke ideology. So don't expect Warner Brothers Discovery to make any kind of smart decisions on this front, given the fact that the company itself is kind of captured by wokeness. But because of that, they are likely going to continue to lose more and more money, continue to have failures, just like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. But let me know what you guys make of this. What do you make of this report that they are cutting back support? It's only bare bones now, and it's definitely not what they were expecting to have when they first released the game. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.